Hello, hello, hello. It's Kaipacho with the weekly Pele report for January 10th of 2024. I'm here at the Silver Mine Park and it is beautiful. It's a little windy, but I'm going to find a nice quiet place. The moon is in Capricorn. We are going to have a Capricorn new moon, a Capricorn party. Mercury is moving into Capricorn on Saturday. We're going to have Mercury, Mars, Sun, Moon, Pluto, all in happy Capricorn. Woo, baby. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so, but it's not going to go on forever. After that new moon, well, the new moon, and I'm going to be talking about it today. Okay, the new moon is square the moon's nodes. Oh, I'm going to be going into that because we have basically a Chiron North Node Eris conjunction going on for months through 2024. I'm going to be talking about that a lot in this weekend's workshop. But anyway, just to continue on here, the moon does move into Aquarius on Friday. So, you know, we've got a little break, and then by Sunday, she goes into Pisces. Yeah. So, of course, all these other things that are happening. Today's mantra, and what I want to talk to you about today is there's this kind of, how can I say, difference going on between Mars, trine, Jupiter. It's basically all week. It's exact on Friday, but Mars moves pretty slow, so it's going to be going on all week. And that's one type of energy. And then Venus in Sagittarius is another powerful, beautiful, freedom-loving energy, but it is in conjunct Uranus. That is exact on Sunday, okay? Now, it is trine to Chiron up there on tomorrow, and as it moves through, of course, we know that with Chiron in aspect to Uranus by almost exactly 30 degrees, you know, when a planet aspects one, it's going to aspect the other. So I'll be talking about that energy a little bit and how it's just the inconjunct aspect is just kind of uneasy. It's an adjustment. It's kind of funky. And if you did happen to pause and look at that chart at the beginning, you'll notice that I included the asteroid Ceres. Ceres, the mothering, nurturing, earthly, loving, feminine energy, is conjunct Venus all week. It's actually exact next Tuesday. So that is just like, it's a beautiful, loving, caring, nurturing energy. And I think I'm just going to find a little spot around here and look at the camera to talk about it. All right. All right, everybody. The moon has gone into Capricorn and it is time to get serious. This is going to be a serious Pele report. I know people like it when I laugh and joke and smile, but there's nothing funny about what's going on these days. Oh my God, I am preparing for the Astrology of 2024 this weekend. If you have not signed up, you still want to. I'm looking at the charts of all these countries in China and Taiwan and the Ukraine and Palestine and Israel and the governments and the politicians. I'm preparing and looking at all the stuff that's going on, and it's like, whoa. And then I'm looking at the aspects that are happening, and you know, we have this solar eclipse exactly conjunct Chiron. With Eris not far away, let's face it, we have a Chiron North Node Eris conjunction going on basically until May. January, February, March, April, and May. The North Node of the Moon is the future path of evolution. It's now in Aries from July of 23 to January of 25. And right through this, like I say, these months, it is a healing crisis. Chiron is bringing about and brings up and brings about a healing crisis. And this healing crisis is how we stand for ourselves and how we assert ourselves. And if we stifle and feel weak, how we may overcompensate. Yes, and and become aggressive and lead to violence and wars. And so we have crisis around the expression of masculine energy, which is sexual energy. It is the desire to penetrate, the desire to exert, the desire for freedom, for my rights. My instinctive animal nature comes out. This is an 8 year. I talked about it. 2 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. 8th house, Scorpio, Pluto, power. So this is an intense year. Scorpio is also ruled by Mars, the ruler of the North Node, which, yeah, I don't want to get into what I'm going to go into this weekend, but you want to definitely look at where your Mars is and where your Venus is, because Venus rules the South Node in Libra. And it's almost like this wind chamber. Just think of a tunnel, okay, where the air and the breeze and the future is coming through that North Node and going out. So, wherever you've got the middle degrees of Libra this year, that's like the toilet flush, okay? That's like the exit door. That's like where things are leaving your space. And where you have the North Node is where new things are coming in. So what we have here is this is the relationship axis. It's a year of really looking at relationship, looking at partnership as my camera falls over. And I'm traveling, so I got this funky setup with my phone. This is the other thing. Mars in Capricorn is anger, and I just kind of woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. It's kind of gnarly, nasty. I wanted to talk about boundaries. This week's mantra came through. This is a time where, yes, we need to stand for ourselves. We need to be Aries. And this new moon in Capricorn squares that Aries. It squares that Chiron. Squares even Libra. This is external authority, time, space, governments, banks, business, things beyond our control. It's not only Scorpio in the 8th house is what's out of our control, but a lot of the 10th house matters. Like our reputation or what other people say about us. You can't control what other people say about you. It's a 10th house matter. I mean, I woke up this morning, I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I got pissed off. I found out that I cannot hike around any of these mountains around here for safety purposes. There's too many robberies and murders. So I need to have an escort for my Pele report. So that pissed me off. And then I find out that it's just windy. And like no matter where we go on the whole Cape, it's just a windy frickin' place. These are things I cannot control. And this is what, this is like Venus inconjunct Uranus. That Uranus in Taurus wants freedom. And the North Node in Aries wants freedom. And Mars in Capricorn is willing to fight for freedom. And it's trine Jupiter right now. So there is this Tarzan thing like, yeah, go. It's Venus and Sag wants to hike and, hike up all the trails and climb the rocks. And Mars in Capricorn is a little goat wanting to get to the top. And, there's all this kind of energy. But there is also, right, Pluto in Capricorn. And then this moon comes into Capricorn. And what is, Capricorn Cancer axis is the physical, financial, emotional security axis. Caution, safety. That's why we have laws, rules, and boundaries. Yeah, to put people in jail that go too far off track of what is acceptable, or not even acceptable, what is human, you know. So it is laws and rules. And we are all, we are all at the mercy. And I'm just thinking about this, because it's like we incarnate into this planet. I mean, this in a way, this is our container. Time and space are our container. This planet is our container. We're coming into this age of Aquarius. And I'm going to be talking about Pluto going into Aquarius. Yeah, this Saturday and Sunday. The link is below in the notes. Throwing that in. But it's a big shift. It's a big change. After Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008, it's moving into Aquarius for the next 20 years. And this is a breaking out, a liberation from. Capricorn is conforming to our conditioning, its conservation. It has to do with our parental and societal patterning, conditioning. This is okay, this is not okay. This is proper conduct. This is, revolution and rebellion. This is acceptable. You go to jail for this. We are all brought up. And the thing is that I'm looking at all these different countries' charts. And then so we're not only in this one container, but even within that container, we've got smaller containers. Yes? Different language, different religion, okay, different gender, different financial status. Someone who incarnates into China is going to have a completely different programming, patterning than someone in the United States or Israel, right? Or South Africa here. I mean, so we incarnate according to particular soul intentions. I want this color skin, I want this gender, I want this language, I want, this much money, I want blah, 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 blah. Because in this particular lifetime, I need to learn, grow, change, evolve, release, let go of, liberate myself from. I mean, there's all kinds of intentions for every incarnation. And it comes with the territory. And so then I'm thinking, okay, it's like, what can I likened it to like a swimming pool, Well, like we're caught in this swimming pool. And we can't swim outside the pool, And the temperature of the pool, the size of the pool, these are things, this is Saturn. This is Capricorn. This is just like, guess what? This is external reality. Boom. You are not totally 100% autonomous, sovereign, independent, free, and liberated. You've only got so much money. You've only got so much time. You've only got so much I mean, it's just, Saturn is limitation. Capricorn is limitation. So when we come, with all of this type of energy, it's time for us to deal with limitation. And how do we deal with that? And how do we deal with crisis? It was great. I read this article from the Anthroposophical Society this week around crisis. And the author talked about crisis being a rupture. It's a rupture. It's a breaking up. It's like a pimple that has to pop, right? Can only take so much. The hot water heater, gets too hot and it has to explode. This is a crisis. And we have numerous crises happening. not only in individual people's lives, but in the lives of nations, of peoples. And what is this crisis about? It is a rupture. And this is the interesting twist. And some of you may go for this a little more than others, but here we go, okay? You know, the outside reflects the inside. This author talked about inner transformation is where we face and we confront our own limitations, our own weaknesses, our own past conditioning, and we struggle and we wrestle and we deal with, you know, our inner limitations of my thinking, of my past, of my, of who I am. So when we're doing our inner work and we are transforming ourselves, we are going through one internal mini crisis after another. If you're doing your shadow work, if you're in an intimate relationship, no. If you're, if you're needing to become conscious of your unconscious, and you do it willingly, you don't resist the evolutionary process, and you go through these little mini crises, guess what? It's like, boom, okay, those are your crises. And when you don't, when you avoid, deny, you don't do your North Node in Aries, you're a wounded Chiron in Aries. It's like, I'm not going to be aggressive. I don't want to assert myself. I don't want to confront anybody. I don't want to fight. I'm light and love and la 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 ba 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 ba. Yeah? Guess what? Crisis comes to you. You are not looking at identifying, becoming conscious of, and doing your inner wrestling work yourself. So the outside world comes in and you unconsciously hire other people to mess with you until you do assert yourself, until you do. I looked at it, the metaphor that I had was like, just think of it, if you, your house, you've got to weed your own garden. Let's say you own a house, you got a garden, you got to, and if you don't pull your weeds, which involves killing plants, it's a very Shiva kind of a thing, right? Weeding your garden. It's like, I'm going to kill you and kill you and kill you and kill you. Anyway. Let's say that you don't weed your garden. You don't cut your grass. It's like, okay, you've got this yard and your grass is growing. You got to get out there with that lawnmower and go chop, 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 chop. Or you will become overgrown. Not only will you become overgrown, and your garden won't produce enough food for you to eat and survive and live on, but some of those weeds may go over into your neighbor's garden. Yeah, right? And then your neighbor comes banging on your door. You have not weeded your garden. You are a slob. Okay, your place looks like a shack. You end up with a crisis between yourself and your neighbor. And so it's like, when we don't do our inner work, we get, opportunities presented to us from the outside where we have to become aware, we have to evolve, we have to grow. And so these crises that we're dealing with, on one level, we can look at them as opportunities. Yeah? Opportunities to break free from the past. Because yes, there are past supports that we have had that gives us a sense of security it gives us a sense of identity, it gives us a sense of stability and predictability, but it also binds us to the past. It also limits our expression and limits our future. So we are both supported by the past and we are bound by the past. And we need to break free of those binds of the past and move into change. Now, Capricorn is a cardinal sign. It wants to initiate change. Let's make no doubt about it. And that's why this mantra this week, Mercury, Mars, Moon, Sun, Pluto, 5 so-called planets in that same sign of the zodiac. This is a time for us to take charge of our own life, of our own self. And where do we have loss? K2, the south node of the moon. Wherever that is in your chart, house, sign, aspect, Libra, okay, going through Libra from, I think it's at like 19 degrees now. It's going to be going through 19 down to 0 through 2024, okay? Look where that is, because guess what? That's where it's loss. That's where it goes out. That's where it's really time to let go. It's time to let go of being nice, being diplomatic, being political. Yeah, like stifling our inner animal, controlling, maybe suppressing, denying our anger, trying to smooth things over. There's a couple of signs that just don't like confrontation. I immediately think of Pisces, Neptune, and I think of Libra, Venus. Venus, the lower octave of Neptune. Venus also rules Taurus. We could say Taurus is not really, a fighter. Cancer's not a fighter. Okay, we got a number of, signs, energies. You want to just look at your own chart. Where is your Neptune? Where is your Venus? Where is your moon? The moon doesn't really like to fight. So you have these, we all have these spaces, these spots, these places where we can dumb down, baby. And now we come up to a new moon. And that new moon square the moon's nodes is what we call a skip step. In order to heal the wound of Chiron, in order to really be free, in order to be sovereign and true to ourselves, we have to take that skip step. We have to take charge. We have to be the boss. We have to draw the line in the sand. We have to make boundaries. We have to say, this is my yard and that's your yard. I don't want your weeds in my yard. I'm not going to have my weeds going in your yard, right? But good fences make good neighbors. Knowing your boundaries, knowing what's okay and what's not okay, not allowing yourself to be trampled on, not allowing the bully on the beach, to cross your line in the sand. So yeah, this is a year, okay? And particularly this month, this new moon, it sets the tone for the whole month, okay? But, this is a very strong time right now where, there's going to be wars this year. They're not going away. They're not disappearing. And it's not just, the Middle East, and it's not just the Ukraine. There's wars all over the freaking place. Those guys just happen to be hitting the newspapers, okay? And there's wars, inside this country, that country. There's wars in the families. There's wars in businesses. There's war. When all else fails, people turn to violence. And, it will be nice when we evolve as a species to a place where we don't need to resort to violence in order to get our needs met. The wound of Chiron in Aries is, I don't deserve to exist. I'm too weak to get what I want. I am not independent and free, to really fulfill my desires. I am powerless. I am impotent. This needs to be healed, but the only way it's going to be healed, if we don't step up to the plate, and if we don't, own our anger, and if we don't, raise the kundalini and, come out of, Mars rules this, the second chakra, right? In the solar plexus, the third chakra, we got to get in touch with these lower chakras and not just be talking heads. Libra's an air sign. South node in Libra is talk. Now let's talk about it. Let's come to the peace accords and the peace tables and draw up treaties and and it's just like, you know what? The North Node is Aries. It's like it's time to assert powerfully and strongly who you are, what you want, where you're going, what's okay, what's not okay, and make yourself known. This is like, I almost think that, I know Gemini rules the elbows, but this is like making elbow room. Yeah? So this is a month and this is a week. Make yourself some elbow room. Draw your lines in the sand, baby. Ow! So, my lack of boundaries and fear to say no have created the box I'm in. If I want to be free, I'm going to need to draw my line in the sand. So yeah, it's like when you don't let other people know what's okay and what's not okay, you can't necessarily blame them for invading your space, breaking your boundaries, because you weren't assertive enough to speak them. Yeah? And not only speak them, but then there's consequences for breaking my boundaries. There's consequences for invading my space. There's, So it's not even, you can build a fence, but then you got to maintain it. So you may say, oh yeah, I've got good boundaries, but you got to hold. And this is especially Capricorn. Endurance, perseverance, commitment through time. Yeah, and it's like consciously changing those boundaries. Maybe last year in 2023, that was not okay with me. But I am going to let go of that binding, limiting boundary. And I'm going to be okay with that. I'm going to do my, Uranus and Taurus. I'm going to experiment, with the 5 physical senses and touch and pleasure and, living on planet Earth and in this body. I'm going to break out. I'm going to break free. I'm going to let go of those boundaries, but I'm going to create a new set of boundaries that just gives myself a little more space. So this is all that we can really do. Like I'm feeling and I'm thinking, it's like, okay, we can only control so much. Number one, it starts with our mind. Nobody can control your thoughts, okay? We can think anything we want. So we are free in our thoughts on what we focus on, what we think about, what we, where our attention rests. And then from our thoughts, in some degree, we are, somewhat free in our feelings. I mean, our feelings get triggered. They're subconscious and unconscious, and, smells and memories and, people and movies or whatever bring up, maybe unwanted feelings, but we are still free in how we deal with our feelings. And maybe in our intimate relationships we have a little more control, but then it starts to really go away very fast. As soon as you get in a car, on a bicycle, or walk out your door, there's like boom. There's way many things beyond your control, right? So all we can do is kind of, and I know when I do workshops, and you do ceremony for the new moon, or you invite spirit into your container, you want to create safe space. This is where intimacy can happen. This is where you can be more vulnerable. And as you become more vulnerable and open, okay, you can really transform and change on deeper soul levels. So we do want safety. So there was this part of me like, I don't care what they say, I'm not going to get attacked. I'm going to go hiking out by myself and, to foo with you. Nobody can stop me, but no, actually, there is a space, there is a need on this planet for safety, for protection. In fact, this is the highest expression of Aries, Mars, the warrior energy, is protection. So not only do we stand for ourselves, but we may also protect others if we really want to, step out there. So anyway, you just kind of get this energy that this week is about assertion, not aggression, but assertion, drawing that line, holding the line, and doing our inner work so that we don't have so many crises externally happening in our lives if we are really actively inward. Yeah? One last time. Let you go, baby. It is my lack of boundaries and fear to say no have created the box I'm in. If I want to be free, I'm going to need to draw my line in the sand. Don't be afraid to say no. Capricorn doesn't have any trouble saying no. Saturn doesn't have any trouble saying no. Libra has trouble saying no. Pisces, some of these other, there's definite. Anyway, enough. Namaste. Aloha. So much no.